Sound check 1 2 3. Here we go. Hi guys, I'm going to make a simple video. I've been receiving a couple of questions on how I did my conversions for these cars so far. How do I convert a diecast model and swap the body for these drifter cars. I want to have a very quick disclaimer. Again, I am not professional at this. I don't do this for a living. I don't make money out of these conversions, right? I am doing this out of my own pocket and own experience, and I'm here to share what are the things that I've learned from doing just two of these cars. As you can see, I'm new to the drifting community and the drifting world, and I only have two cars, two of which I have converted myself. Okay, so again, it's just my point of view. There's many ways to do this. There's a couple of right ways, wrong ways, and I will share the right and wrong stuff that I have done, and I'll share what is good and what is bad from my personal opinion. I will be opening up this Jaguar today and show you the insights and just tell you what are the things that you should pay attention to and keep an eye out for. Okay, but if you are absolutely new to this and you're doing this for the first time, I just want to quickly run through some of the tools that you will need, right? Just in case if you do not have this and you are absolutely new to this, want to share some quick tools and tips. Obviously, you will need your screwdrivers, right? Phillips head, depending on what are the screw size on your car. You obviously need the original drift or Sturmkin kind of screwdriver because of their star head screws. I don't have a special screwdriver set that have it, so I'm just using the original and it works just fine for me. If you can afford, buy some tweezers, right? If you can spend a little bit more, invest in a pack of tweezers, different shape, sizes, head and everything. This is going to help you very much along the way. Now you want something that has a very sharp tip. This is not the one with the sharp tip, but you want something with a sharp tip that will be able to help you out a lot. What you also want to have is your drill, your battery operated drill, right? You don't have to buy an expensive one. You will also need a Dremel. I got this very cheap Dremel as well. You can buy the extension tip so that you can have finer drilling. Again, don't have to buy an expensive Dremel, but what you absolutely need is to invest in good quality drill bits. You want super fine drill bits, high quality, and also things for milling and grinding metal die cast. Okay, so these are bits that you want to invest and buy good ones. Right, so this stuff you need to buy a little bit more expensive, but invest in good ones because it's gonna help you along the way. Okay. Lastly, I think you want to invest in some fine sanding bits as well. So this goes into the Dremel head, and you can have some sanding bits. This will help to fine sand all the plastic bits into how you want it to be, and it will be smooth. So these are some of the things that you need. There's also one more thing that I forgot to bring on the table, which is thumbtacks or putty. Now it's like a plasticine stuff. I can show you later in the car. kind of like a plasticine stuff which I use a lot in the cars as well, and that is very good. Okay, quick tip, right? An additional tip. I also bought a bag of these are M3 nuts, or M3 size nuts. Okay, these are M3 size nuts, and these are, I don't know, M3 size nut buckles as well. These are metal, and this is quite heavy. This one has some weight to it, but not as heavy as these guys. These are absolutely useful when it comes to adjusting the weight inside the car, and I love using these things. These are awesome. So you can fine-tune your weight by using some of this. Okay, now we come to the car. Right now, this is what I most recently did. Again, this is a TSM model. Comes as a TSM model initially. What I did was I pry open the lenses of the lights. This is optional if you want to work on the lights. I pry open the lenses, okay, using one of these, right, using the tip to just pry open the lenses and start drilling a hole through there. Okay, and I drilled 2 holes on the headlamps as well. So that is what I did. On the bottom, you can see right now, you can see the cover is on, and it's been held on by 1 screw at the top and 1 Sturmkin screw at the bottom. Okay, so you can see that the charging port is here and the button is right here. Now it's a little bit exposed, but it doesn't fall out of place. It's held on by a plastic bit, so it's fine. You can see the steering mechanism, and one thing to note is this piece here is a bit flappy. Unfortunately, the gap between the wheels and the charger is too close to each other, and I have to remove I have to remove a large amount of plastic here for the charging cable to fit in. And now this plastic bit here is a little bit floppy. I'll need to do something about that one. Okay, now I'll slowly remove bit by bit and explain as we go in. So I'm just going to get one of the screwdrivers, right? And I'm just going to remove the top screw. I'm going to remove the bottom screw. Sorry for the noise of the birds out there. Been feeding some of the cats outside, and there's some leftover food, and that kind of attracts the crows, I would assume. Now they are here to come and finish up the leftover food from the cats, which is why they're making noise outside. So 2 screws, and now I can lift this part out. Okay. So I'm just trying to be careful while I remove these parts. Some of these parts here are held on by putty or thumbtack. Okay. So the button comes out. So when I remove it, you can see this is the underplate. Okay, the back wheels are just sitting on it, and I've left some of the inner arch in place, so when the wheels sit in, it just doesn't fall out easily. You can remove that. I haven't glued the wheels yet, so I'm just putting some putty on the axle and pushing the wheels together. Yeah, it's the back wheels. The back wheels are the easy part. All you need to do is make sure it loosely sits in place, and for the most part it should work. The front wheels is the one that need a little bit more work. Okay, it looks a bit messy right now because I accidentally put too much glue over here, but as you can see, there's one M3 nut here to put some weight onto the steering mechanism, so when you turn the car, it turns very well, right? There's a lot of weight pushing the wheels down onto the ground, and you can turn fairly easily. Yeah, I have drilled a hole through the original steering, the plastic steering mount onto the center, so that when it goes back into the car here, it sits flush onto the metal bit in the center, and it holds it in place. Okay, I have glued kind of 3 screws down, right, just to make sure that the steering is center. So I just glued these 3 screws down and make sure it's center. The wheel does have a bit of play as well still, so when the car is moving, it still has some suspension action going on. It's just held on by a little bit of glue right now, so it doesn't come out of place, but as you can see, it still has some mobility to it. Yeah, very free, it moves very free. I had to sand off a little bit so that it gets to be as low as it possibly could. As you can see, the remaining bit of the plastic is extremely thin right now, but again, if possible, you want to keep as much of this as possible so that dust will not go in as easily. If you can see my first conversion, there is no covering on the my first conversion, there is no covering on the Hyundai, right? This whole bit was cut off. I think if I were to do this again, I would try to remain this bit as much as possible. But the back part is okay. The back part is being done nicely. The front is not so much. Okay. So I think that is pretty much all for the base plate. Again, if you saw my pictures of how this is done, it was initially a whole piece of plastic, right? It comes as a whole piece. What I did was I placed a masking tape on top and measure the circle I need to cut out. Right now, on top of the masking tape, I just draw a circle on top of it, and I start cutting this pit out, start dremeling the center out until it has enough room for the center drive wheels to fit in nicely and rotate freely, right? So that is what you want to achieve. Yeah, so if you saw my previous pictures, there's a whole lot of exhaust details coming on the middle part, which I had to unfortunately remove everything, but I still keep the end bits here so that it will come out nicely under the diffuser. Yeah, so that's it for the most part. For the base car itself, as you can see the drive unit is sitting inside fairly nicely, and again you can see the original weights sitting in there. You can see the original weights sitting in there. Right there, and you can see two additional M3 screws just sitting right there. So it's held on by putty again, and it works extremely fine. This whole bottom right here is right now held on by putty, and it's just sitting there very nicely. You can see how little the wheel is jutting out, so it's very close to the ground, and I think that is how I want it to be, right? So it's sitting very low. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out and I'm gonna show you what kind of dremeling I had to go through to get this to fit in. You can see it's held on by putty. Yeah, so very easy to clean. All you need to do is just pull this out, right? Roll them together and you can reuse it later. Okay, just going to do a bit of a cleaning so that you can see where I Dremel. Okay. Okay. I didn't have to do a lot of dremeling for this car, which is a very good thing. All I did was there's a little bit of dremeling that has to be done on this side and also this side. Okay, both sides. Not much actually. It will already fit inside nicely, right? There's still some wiggle room, but that's just a little bit you need to remove from both sides. I initially thought I had to remove some additional plastic on both the sides of this one and here. If you can see, I actually Dremel some of it off here and here, but actually you do not have to. You probably need to Dremel some of this part right here and here, because it kind of catches up at this corner here. So when you go in, it kind of catches here. Okay, that is what you possibly need to do. I'm going to solder on the lights later on. Still waiting for parts, but when the connector comes, I'm going to solder. The other bit I had to Dremel down was this front bit here. As you can see now, it's very little left, as you can see, so that it accommodates the space for the additional weight. It will just sit in nicely, and you can see that it has enough room for the weights right there. I find that by pushing this car back all the way, it kind of sits right at the middle, and where it moves very naturally. Oh yeah, the other bits was I had to Dremel some of the top off. As you can see, the seats are now shorter because it sits very far in and the seats were hitting the roof. So I had to remove some of these seats off, and now I think it just sits in at a place where I kind of like it. There's no need to really adjust it anymore. You just throw it in and it sits very nicely inside, and that is how I like it to be. There's a lot of room up front with the wheels. There's no obstruction on the wheels. At the back there's a lot of space as well, when the cover is closed. Okay, very simple conversion. I think this car is a heck a lot more simple to convert. just because there's a lot of space compared to the Hyundai right here, which is I would say a lot more work required to convert that one, and this one is a lot easier. Now I think once it's all in, it's in a very good position. Somehow if you look at it, these two ports actually supports the side right here, and it doesn't wiggle inside the car. If you look at it again and I put it in, when it's all flush on the inside, it doesn't move. It just sits in place very nicely. It doesn't move forward and backwards or side by side. So that is really where you want it to be. It works very well. And again, like I said, there's a lot of space up front. You can add some additional weight and everything inside, and still there's a lot of room for the steering mechanism to go in. Okay, it just sits inside, and you can see everything just falls into place very nicely. There's no issues at all. Okay, so yeah, basically I don't think I'll bother putting in any more details into the car. I mean, as in the original dashboard and everything. I kind of like how the Sturmkin logo is kind of sticking out in the front a little bit. I think that kind of gives a mark, a very special mark to these kind of Sturmkin cars, and I can differentiate them from original models. And you can see the same from the Hyundai as well. We can see more of the Sturmkin logo because this is a hatchback, and I think that is just beautiful. I like it a lot. The only downside is you can see the light connector. This is quite a large connector. I might change this one when I have new connectors coming in, and honestly I feel like redoing this entire car. I might decommission this car, and I would just replace everything into this one instead. And sorry to say, this one, as much as I like it, it's just the first trial, very first good effort to try and convert the cars, and there's a lot I learned from this car, and I think I'm going to rebuild it again in this one and see how well it goes. Okay, that is my plan in maybe the next couple of weeks. So I might convert this one and put it inside this one, and sad to say, this one is gonna be trash. The body is gonna be trash after that, unfortunately. This one again, I really wish I could put in some assemblies into these lights. I do not know if it's going to introduce too much resistance to the board and then destroy the main motherboard. I am a bit worried of doing that. I do not know if that is a good idea or a bad idea, but I might just light up the headlights. I might light up all of it. I don't know, but it depends on how lazy or how diligent I am. I will be lighting up the backlights as well properly this time, and replacing the wheels as well. So that's my plan. I'm still looking around if I can get another more expensive model or not, but I'm definitely planning to have one race car and one road going car. So I already have this Jaguar as a road car, and I want another racing car. So two cars that I have, one road car and one race car. So that is what I have in mind. I think that is all. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, if you are new to this, try to use cheaper models. These IXO models are fairly cheap, fairly good detail, and fairly beautiful. I think this would be a good starting model to play with. and when you are confident with your skills, you can move up to a more expensive model. Not sure if you can hear me because it's starting to rain outside, but TSM models, not the most expensive, but the details are slightly higher. This car came right out of the box with black interiors, painted, pre-painted, so when I pull the model out, it's all black inside, which shows really the level of detail TSM models went through, right? Really making their models very beautiful and detailed. This is a very beautiful car. The IXO models, not so much painted on the inside. It's probably just the same paint as the outside body, but this one has a couple of layers of paint extra on it, and it's super shiny and it's super nice. Okay, I guess that is all. I'm still waiting for my light connectors. I'll probably show more pictures when the light comes and when I replace back the lenses of the car. Okay, if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to let me know. Ask anything, and I'll see if I can help answer your questions. And if you are looking at starting out the conversion, good luck to you, and I hope the best for your conversions, and share your picture once you are done with them. Okay, that will be all, and happy drifting.